Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is Patrick, you and me. Testing, testing, 1, 3, 4, 5. Here we go, guys. We're live.
Testing.
Go.
Oh, you looked at me like it
Just
was
talk.
my turn.
Just freaking talk.
Whatever. I'm done with the test.
All right. Welcome to episode 0 of On the Up and Up with Patrick and
Talisha. Don't do that voice.
Why do you want to take away my podcasting voice?
Oh, no. No podcasting voice, buddy.
This is what all the good podcasts do. They have the serious announcer radio voice introducing the show, and that's how they have all the listeners and stuff.
Let's just do your regular voice.
All right, so you want me to say, hi, welcome to episode 0 of On the Up and Up with Patrick and
Talisha.
All right, that's better.
Much better.
Okay. I see how that would work. So this is episode 0 of our podcast. Actually, it's like episode 0A because we already did an episode 0. But we can't put that out into the world because it wasn't very good. There was an echo and all this other jazz. And since you put out the advertisement on the gram and Facebook, and people actually said that they're going to be listening to us, we got to be good.
Yeah, we had to run it back because if y'all would have heard that echo, y'all would have been like, that was my first and last episode of On the Up and Up with Patrick and Talisha.
Yeah, we would have got 0 downloads and y'all just throwing our podcast in the trash. And that's why we're re-recording this time. So who are we? My name is Patrick Ratliff, and I am a certified professional coach. And my specialization was in team coaching and working with organizations to help them build high-performing teams, and along the way, help them build a healthier organization. But as I began working in there for the past year, I just realized that companies don't really care that much about their employees. So I wanted to shift and make a bigger impact in the world and focus on the most important teams in most of our lives, which is our marriage. What about you?
So I am a pharmacist. I worked at an opiate treatment program for the last 6 years, and I just finished my stint there. I was helping patients who struggle with opiate addiction. And now I'm going to go work at a college and be the executive director of experiential education. So it's totally new. I'm starting very soon, and I'm extremely excited about it because I have a huge passion for students. And I think that this is just going to be my dream job.
Yeah. So what qualifies us to talk about marriage? Tell them, baby.
So we are high school sweethearts, and we've been together for 18 years. We've been married for the last 8 years. And if you look at it, we've actually been together on this earth longer than we've not been together on this earth.
Yeah, so we've gone through high school, college, our 20s. Now we're in our 30s, and we have a family. We have 2 young sons. So all that drama and turmoil and heartache and stress of growing up during those very challenging times where you're really trying to find yourself, we did it together. So those trials and tribulations all made us closer and brought us closer together, because I really don't know adulthood without you, baby. And that's what makes us so special. It's because we've grown together. And usually when couples get married at an early age, or they've been together for a extended amount of time or a long time, and they got together when they were young, they end up growing apart. But we've done the opposite. We've totally grown together. We have been through some very emotional times together. And the best part is, like, we've gotten through it and we've always come out better and stronger than we did when we went into that situation. And I think that's how you create a happy, fun, successful, and actually enjoy the person you vow to spend the rest of your life with, as opposed to just settling and saying, oh, I guess this is what marriage is supposed to be. Because there's so many negative images of marriage out there, because no one wants to put on TV a happy couple, because that won't bring in any viewers or anything. They want to show all sorts of dysfunction and fighting. And what you plant in people's heads is going to grow in their heads, and they're going to think that, oh, well, I guess this is what marriage is supposed to be like. But the big mistake is they're accepting the world's view of marriage and not God's view of marriage. And we are a Christian family. And to be honest, to be just straight up honest, we have gotten this far without even like going hard on our spirituality. But that is about to change, and it is starting to change, and you're seeing it for the better. Am I right?
Absolutely right. Yeah, we are tenfold stronger whenever we really put God first. Because it's one thing to say, oh, yeah, we put God first. But to actually truly put God first and walk in faith, it's a game changer.
Yeah. So we always go to church, but now we're getting to actually become more familiar with the Word, the Bible, and actually taking in the lessons that we got in premarital counseling.
Exactly. Brother Nelson was our pastor then, and whenever we went to premarital counseling, he told us, look here, I do the Bible. And that's been one of our favorite quotes for forever. So we are doing the Bible.
Yeah, we're going to study it. We got workbooks. I'm doing a better job of leading our family spiritually. And I kind of picked it up from our little 2-year-old, because that dude, man, he really loves church. And he's always getting up and dancing with the praise team, and he loves our pastor. He's like the pastor's #1 fan. Because of COVID-19, we've been attending church virtually, and when he just sees our pastor on TV, man, he's like, oh my gosh, I think it's a TV. He really thinks that it's a TV star. And then when we actually go into the church, he's just like mesmerized that he actually gets to see the guy who he sees on TV, and he's just like, oh, it's like the pastor gets to see his biggest fan, and he's just in awe of our pastor.
Exactly.
And I'm like, I need to have that same energy for church that my little 2-year-old has. So that brings us to why we actually wanted to start this show and do it together. We just believe that it takes a village to raise a child, and a village is made up of strong marriages. And we're seeing a lot of pain out there on social media and stuff. I'm a part of a lot of marriage groups, and it's every like half hour, I just get notifications all the time about people's marriages, about how people feel alone in their marriage, and how her or him, how their partner doesn't listen to them, and how they're just arguing all the time and they just aren't clicking, or the person doesn't understand them, or we just can't get our finances together, or that we're growing apart, or as family issues that they can't get along with their in-laws, or they can't get along with the ex-wife and just the blended family. It's just a lot of pain out there, and people are, instead of going to their partner, they're actually venting their frustrations in Facebook groups to complete strangers. So that kind of gives you an idea of how lonely it can get in a relationship. If you can't even go to your partner about what's troubling you, I mean, who can you go to? Because just naturally, it's part of our nature to be in a relationship. I think that's how we are biologically designed to experience life with somebody. We aren't designed to go in life alone. That's why God created marriage, I believe, so that we can live this life and honor him and have someone along with us to bring us closer to God and carry out his plan that he has for us. Because I just know personally from myself, I'm a team worker. When I try to do projects alone or as an individual, I suffer greatly from procrastination. Yeah, so procrastination. And I will sit there and suffer in silence before I reach out to my wife and get her to actually help me with things. It's a lot of ego. And that's another thing that troubles or gets in the way of having a successful, fun marriage is that ego, that self-centeredness, man. Right. You always think it's about you, and you forget that you're supposed to serve your spouse and be a fan of your spouse and just do things to make them happy and like making them happy. And we lose that because we're naturally wired to look out for ourselves. So we aren't perfect, as you can see from the bloopers that we did. That's why I'm going to leave that in there. I'm not going to edit that out. We mess up like everybody else. Wouldn't you say that we have some things that we argue about and suffer through as a couple?
Yes. So we are perfectly imperfect. So we definitely go through these same things that other people go through. And it's just, like Patrick said, it's good to be able to laugh about it. It's good to be able, so for us, here's a little rule for us. If we're in a little bit of an argument or a spat and you mess up on your words, it's over. Just let that issue die out because we're done with it. And that kind of keeps things like light and happy. Like, you can't stay mad because you messed up. And so that's one of our examples of conflict resolution. So, but yeah, we are definitely not the perfect couple. We work at our marriage. We work at our relationship just like we work at having our friends. We work at being good brothers and sisters, good sons and daughters. We have to work at being good husbands and wives.
Yeah, and we chose the podcast format because I've been listening to podcasts for over like 11 years, since like 2009. And when I would be sitting in my cubicle at work, I'd always pick a podcast to listen to. And podcasts really, they opened my perspective and opened up my view of the world to see that you can be an entrepreneur. You can work for yourself. You can get paid by using the gifts that God gave you. And I was just listening to a podcast one day and I heard a guy that said he coached people for a living. And I didn't even know that you could even do that until I heard the podcast. And long story short, I called that guy one day and he became my mentor. So podcasts have literally changed my whole life. And if there's just like one person out there or one couple out there who hears our story, here's our journey, here's how we get through our stints and arguments and disagreements, and it helps them become a stronger married couple where they have a happy and fulfilling marriage, then we've done our job. But it would be selfish of us to not say anything and keep our glory to ourselves. You're supposed to go out there and serve the world. And podcasts, they're a worldwide thing. You never know who's listening out there. So we just want to just share our knowledge because we don't want to be selfish.
Exactly. We don't want to be selfish. We want to share our story with y'all, and we want y'all to share your story with us because on this up and up journey, we're in this together. So we want to have each other's backs, and we're going to continue to open our hearts to you all and grow with y'all as y'all grow with us. So who is this podcast for? This podcast is for couples who take their marriage seriously. And by seriously, we mean you are committed. You really want this. So, and it's not just about married couples. We had this mindset before we got married. So this is a mindset. This is a shift. So this is how you want to embody the marriage, whether you're already in it or whether you're about to go into it. Being on the up and up is a way of life.
Yeah, I started on Up and Up Coaching back in 2016, and it was all about becoming more successful and being honest and sincere to yourself. And I think that one way that you can do that is, like, we are really heavily involved in personal development. When we take trips, it's usually to go see a speaker or go to a seminar, something that's going to make our marriage grow. And it's not cheap by any means. It takes an investment, but if you take something serious, you will pour money into it. And we've seen a large return on our investment in the happiness and the success of our marriage. It just doesn't happen automatically. You have to be intentional about your marriage. You have to plan what you want to see in your marriage. You have to have a vision for what you want your marriage to be like. Like I said, it doesn't happen by accident. Like those successful marriages, those happy couples, those power couples, it was by design. It doesn't just happen by you just waking up and, oh, I'm in love with this person, so everything's going to work automatically. No, you have to put the work behind it. And that's the beautiful part about it. When you're doing it with the person you love, it's fun. Mm-hmm. It's fun to learn more about each other. It's fun to go to personal development events. It's fun to go do networking events with your spouse. It's just so fun and amazing. And at the same time, you're growing together. We do not want people to grow apart, or you want to be equal with your growth. A lot of times one person feels like they're growing and they don't see the growth in their spouse, and they become really resentful of that, and they won't say anything about it. They'll let it just bubble up inside of them, and then all those little things that you don't enjoy about your spouse, it just becomes like more magnified.
Right. It becomes like a deal breaker. And before it's like, well, they've done this the whole time you've been with them. But that little pet peeve didn't get on your nerves until you're like, hey, I'm growing and I'm putting in a lot for this relationship and you're not. So now the fact that you don't put the toilet seat down really makes me mad. Just little things where if you were to tell someone, they'd be like, oh, okay. But it's not. That's like the surface level complaint, but there's really something bigger underlying it.
Yeah, there's always a deeper emotion, and that's what we learned when we actually went to coaching school. So we're 2 certified professional coaches, and that was one of the best things that ever happened to our relationship. And we'll get to that down the road in some later episodes. But yeah, we're 2 coaches, and we know how to break down situations because we are more conscious of our decisions now. And before, we were just going on autopilot, and we were lucky. We were actually lucky that it was still working. Yeah. But like I said, there comes one day where you will hit a wall and then you'll feel stuck, and we never want to hit that wall. I always want to have that feeling when I was 16 years old, when I first saw you in that school, and I can relive that feeling every single day, and it brings me joy every single day. It's hard to put it in words, but that feeling, that joy that I got when I first met you, I want to have that feeling every single day when I wake up. I know this sounds really like cheesy and stuff, but it's real.
It's real. And having those butterflies in your stomach, like just having that giddy first time love, or being in the quote unquote honeymoon phase. Like I want to always be in the honeymoon phase. Now, might the honeymoon phase have poop with it? Yeah, maybe. We have a potty training 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So poop everywhere is our new phrase. So it might not look exactly the same, but we still have that honeymoon feeling.
Even when we get in arguments, like I'd rather argue with you than not argue. Argument's a strong word. It's more like a disagreement. Can you disagree with somebody and still respect them and love them and get better as a result of your disagreement? Do you want to create a win-win situation?
Yeah. Because in a relationship, you don't want to necessarily agree on every single thing. It's good to have a different dynamic, to have a different viewpoint, because that definitely helps you to have a better change on a viewpoint.
And we're in this together. We're a team. My specialty is in teamwork. And in a marriage, you go from you and me to we. Mm-hmm. And if you're in an argument and you're trying to win at the expense of your spouse, then ultimately they lose. And on a team, you want everybody to win.
Exactly. So pull your partner up, bring them on for the ride. They might not want to go on the ride initially, but hey, you might be able to make that ride more enjoyable. So bring them on. Don't put them down. Don't do cheap shots. And it will become something great.
Yeah, and later on down the road, we will talk about the cheap shots that we give to each other. We're going to have a pet peeve episode. Oh, it's going to be so funny.
It is.
But yeah, that's why we do this. That's who this show is for. It's for couples who take their marriage seriously. They want the best out of life. They want to live their best life and have someone come on the journey with them.
So going forward, you can expect to hear On the Up and Up. Every week, we will drop each episode on a Monday, and you'll hear from us each time wherever you listen to your podcast.
That is podcast on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Yes. And we will catch you guys down the road. Look forward to building prosperous marriages with all of you.
And I promise you'll stop doing that voice.
No, I won't. And we're out.